All right, guys, happy Friday. So this presentation is going to kind of be a summative assessment on fiscal and monetary policy. So I'm going to go through this. This is called Rip from the Headlines. I'm going to show you a bunch of newspaper headlines, and then you're going to answer some questions revolving around fiscal and monetary policy. Type your answers right into the Google Doc that I've put onto the Google Classroom assignment. So let's go over the directions for this. Before you do this assignment, you should do the Unit 5 quiz activities first, as that will help you study for these questions. Okay, so do that activity first, and then move on to this one. For each scenario, answer the questions in the Google Doc provided. You should have the following documents open to help you. Okay, so you're going to use the fiscal policy reading. Okay, you have that document. Those are returned to you in Google Classroom. The monetary policy reading, your T-chart notes, and the Mastering Ohio's Government Assessment Government Book. You can turn to those pages that this is all based on, or you can just use your readings if you've completed it in detail enough. That should be enough to do this correctly. Okay. Okay, the first headline is from the Wall Street Journal. This is our most recent. So the scenario is, okay, last week the government passed a $1 trillion, you saw a question similar to this already. Last week the government passed a $1 trillion stimulus package to alleviate the economic effects of COVID-19. Question 1, which type of fiscal policy is this? Okay, this action of passing the stimulus package. Is that expansionary or contractionary fiscal policy? Okay, I'm not going to answer these. I'm going to post a video next week going over the answers. So right now, just answer the questions. Use your notes. You should be no reason why anybody gets any of these wrong, because all of this stuff is in the material that you've done so far this week. So use the material to answer these questions, please. Okay, next scenario. Okay, in 2007, the mortgage system in the U.S. collapsed due to various factors. Okay, this caused many banks to file for bankruptcy and the stock market crashed. So back in 2008, basically they were giving home loans to people that couldn't afford them, and eventually enough people stopped paying, enough houses in the foreclosure. There's different factors that went into play here. But basically our whole mortgage system collapsed in 2007 and 2008, and it led to what's called the Great Recession. So questions 2 and 3. Name one action the legislative branch is likely to take in this scenario. So during a financial collapse, what is the legislative branch likely to do involving fiscal policy? Okay. And 3, name one action the Federal Reserve is likely to take in this scenario. So name one action of fiscal policy that's likely to be taken during this time like this, and one action of monetary policy which is completed by the Fed, okay, during a time like this. Go ahead and pause and answer those questions. Okay. Question 4, what actions, there's no scenario here, you just need to answer the question. What actions can the federal government take to lower inflation? Sorry, my alarm was going off. What actions can the federal government take to lower inflation? Okay, here this chart, you see inflation over time. Back in 1970, a cup of coffee used to cost 25 cents. Okay, now depending on where you go, 2020, 2019, it's at $1.50. That's inflation, the rising cost of goods and services. Okay, next one, scenario. From 2016 until early 2020, the economy was booming and unemployment was at its lowest in decades. However, inflation was high and there were fears that this economic growth was occurring at too fast of a rate. Question 5 and 6. What actions are the Federal Reserve likely to take in a situation like this? So when the economy is overheating, it's growing too fast, what does the Fed usually do? And B, going back to fiscal policy, what are the legislative and executive branches likely to do in this situation? There's various answers that are acceptable for both of these questions. Okay, and I think there's one more after this. Scenario. In order to pay for the wall, Donald Trump has used tax dollars that were allocated to the military. Questions 7 and 8. Is this fiscal policy or monetary policy? And B, explain your answer from A. So tell me why it's fiscal policy or why it's monetary policy. So here's our headline. Trump takes more funds from Pentagon to build the wall. In order to pay for the wall, Donald Trump has used tax dollars that were allocated to the military. Is this fiscal policy or monetary policy? You need to explain why it's fiscal or why it's monetary. Okay, pause it, answer the question, use your notes. Okay, now the last question, number 9. Here's the headline: Trump throws infrastructure trade deals in doubt. So the scenario: government spending on infrastructure would create jobs. Which type of fiscal policy is this? Okay, contractionary or expansionary fiscal policy. Okay, now at the bottom of the paper, okay, not at the bottom, on the paper, make sure you've answered each question, and don't forget to click turn in when you're done. Okay, you guys have a great day. Don't forget to, you should have done those Unit 5 Quizlet questions first before you did this. Hopefully you did that before the end of this video. And you guys have a great weekend. See ya.